It is now my time to comment on Raila's illness, Raila's medical condition. First and foremost, at the time of shooting this episode, I believe that Raila had just been discharged from hospital. I believe that he had just been discharged from a hospital abroad outside Kenya. Now, where do we start? When you are a public figure, issues such as your health should be shared with the public. If you are a public figure, issues such as health, should be shared with the public. Whatever Raila is suffering from, and whatever Raila has suffered from, has never been embarrassing. You see, it may be embarrassing if the nature of the sickness is embarrassing. For example, you are stealing in somebody's shamba, you are caught by what do you call mob justice, beaten up or anything. That one we could say it is embarrassing. But what I know up to this time is that Raila's illness, if at all anything, if it is known by the public, it makes him even more respected. Because apart from the fact such as age, which even me from here, I've started seeing signs of age. Apart from things that have got to do with age, a good percentage of Raila's medication or hospitalization and whatever has to do with his activism. And if it has to do with his activism, I think it is even better for such things to be made public so that people look at him from both sides, especially people look at him and appreciate that he has suffered and continues suffering for things that as an individual, he would have just left it and stayed and whatever, but he's suffering because he felt sometimes that things did not work out well. I mean, he suffered because, and is suffering because of his farm stand, and he would have just lived a normal life, a comfortable life, but he suffered and is continuing suffering for a just moment. So I don't see why the family needs to hide, and that is why I'm saying that all that I know about him, I don't think there is any aspect of his medical problems that is embarrassing. So there is need to come out openly about his illness. I do form an opinion that he doesn't want to, or those around him plus himself do not want to disclose his medical condition, because there is a belief, and I'm one of those people who believe in that, is that so long as Raila's nose are pumping in oxygen and pumping out carbon dioxide, Raila will always want to be on the ballot paper. And the day Raila will not offer himself as a candidate is the day when a medical personnel has certified him dead. So from the little that I know is that so long as he still has a hope of appearing on ballot paper, he hides it because of the reason that he does not want to be seen as medically unfit to contest the presidency. But you see, the last elections, 2022, there is even a video which was there that he was on a rooftop of a vehicle together with Oparanya, and when he was with Oparanya, there are even times when he lost consciousness and whatever, and the vehicle was moving. And you see, losing consciousness when the vehicle is moving, and you see the wind is going to you, it shows that he has serious medical problems. In, in absence of a better reason, is that him and those around him are hiding about his medical condition because they believe, and I also believe that if Kenyans know exactly his medical position, they will tell him to retire from politics. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s, leaders' illness was top secret. It was a top secret. And some people have suffered for disclosing the secrets of people like Jomo Kenyatta. During Kenyatta and Moi time, any mention of their medical condition would be treated as though you are committing treason. I would advise those close to Raila not to take us back to those days. Tell us what is there. Tell us about his medical problem. Let it be open. I remember when Kibaki was the president, newly elected president, the vice president was Wamalwa Kijana. I remember Charity Ngilu was the minister for health. She was confused because these two people are in hospital, and Kenya was not used to disclosing such a thing and whatever. So there was that confusion. The president is a human being, somebody who becomes sick and whatever. Kindly allow us, the president and even our leaders, allow us to know exactly how it is. Let us not go back to the time when, you see, when Jomo Kenyatta died, if things would have gone well, Kenyans would have known about it at around 8, if late by 9 a.m. But everybody was fearing that there is that one chance in a million that is not dead, and I'll be blamed for approving this. I remember around 10 a.m., my father rang us. Those days, rich people used to have landlines in there. Even during my time when I was a deputy in E10, 1990, when I was in Mandera, I was acting. I was not the substantive, but in E10, I was the substantive deputy. We used to have, if you are in charge of a department or a deputy, your house you used to have two phones. There is one in your office and another one in the house. So my father had a phone in the house at Madaraka, and we learned about Jomo Kenyatta's death very early. So that is what I'm saying. In those days, imagine Kenyatta would even be unconscious for a day or two, but Kenyans would not be told. So as I've said, let those who are with RAILAs minders don't take us to those days when a leader was seen to be a semi-god. I, being younger than Raila, occasionally find age-related fatigues. Those of you who know Ndwaru Road, there is a place, a very expensive place like Muthaiga, called Keza. I was walking, and when I reached at Keza, towards the swimming pool, I was unable to climb that hill until I was walking slowly. So we have age-related fatigue, yet I have never been to jail. whatever conviction. I've never been to jail, whether through conviction or detention without trial. I've never been there. Raila has been there. So even for those people like me who may be Raila's age mate, I expect them to have a lot of fatigue and so on. Yet again, during his detention without trial, he would oscillate between committee, which he preferred. Yes, he really was happy to be at committee, to Manyani. Whenever he was told that he was being transferred to Manyani, alarm would set up on him. We are being told that he's going there. He started having nightmares. I've discussed this before, and the people have castigated me. You see, this is a problem with Kenyans. It's like in school, every teacher has his subject, isn't it? The mathematics teacher will tell you, oh, do everything because you see, mathematics is very important. The English teacher will tell you, English is the most important because all communications are done in language. So you teach on your side and somebody else takes over from the other subject. Don't castigate me for saying that Raila used to be treated well in committee and he used to have nightmares in Manyani. Maybe you should just ask yourself, am I lying? Yes or no? Or there are even people who are telling the truth, but they add there kachumbari. Am I seasoning the story or something? That is what. But if I'm telling the truth, don't castigate me. No, useless. You're talking lies. Why is it that he was at Everton? No, let me talk my bit. Let me talk my subject. Maybe, just maybe, because we are getting old. We are getting old. I told you that walking up the Keza Hill, I was becoming breathless. Those people who detained him in committee, not all of them are dead and whatever. Try to encourage us who know little to say what we know, so that even those prison warders who were in committee those days are come out and express. Maybe they can even tell us why Raila would have nightmares hearing that he's going to Manyani, and he was very comfortable being in committee. I would also encourage them. You see, there is also this problem that maybe you have touched Raila and you fear. I've seen people even trying to implicate me on some of these things, but in Nyati House and in prisons, we have people like Wafula Buke, we have people like Jeru Gadhangu, we have a lot of people who are there. You who are not there, you cannot pretend to know what happened there more than I, who had access there, and Raila, who was access there, and Kina Wafula Buke. You just find somebody, an outsider. Hey, mambo ya social media, you find somebody just hating you, especially if your subscription and viewership go up. Anyway, let us not go there. What I'm trying to say is that I would request the prison warders that we know. I even, those who worked with me in special branch, know that there's even a time I used to tell people, you people who have been, I told Nani, Clement Masisa, you people who punished people, one day you'll have to answer for that. I also know the person who hit Raila's eye, the eye that is always doing this. But you see, just like I used to tell you that time that you're doing wrong and you'll be answerable for them, the same way, if you come out publicly, nitakutetea, I'll just tell the people no. Understand the situation he was in at that time. You may even have done worse. So some of these things, when we talk, I want my viewer to understand that on my personal level, talking about myself, is that I'm trying to act as a go-between so that those people who did it come out. I cannot come here and say, so and so, Mariongobi, you are the one who kicked Raila in the eye. No. Let Mariongobi himself come out. And when Mariongobi has come out and people start castigating, I'll stand by Mariongobi. Even if I told Mariongobi at that time that you're doing wrong, this time I'll have to say, that is what we call plea bargaining. Allow those people who did wrong to come out cleanly, because if they have any idea that they'll be castigated or anything, then they'll not come out. So to you, what is more important? What is it important? More important to know the truth, or you want Mariongobi to hide forever? For your information, Mariongobi is not somebody's name. It's a Bukusu expression for it's like saying XYZ. So I can't explain how Raila had to live a life where he could change from total. You see, like in a committee, he had a lot of, yes, I can even say private sessions with his spouse and something like that. But and he had a farm, and he had even he could even welcome the warders to roast maize that he had planted. Then he could go to Manyani. Going to Manyani, I don't know. Somebody asked me, this is the same prison of Moi and whatever. Well, I only talk, and you see, during Moi's time, there was and Kenyatta's time, during Kanu time, there was a lot of hiding and whatever. It is not like today that Gen Z try to reason at you have to reason the way. Those days, you ask 2 to 3 questions, utakuwa mboga ya fisi. Utakuwa mboga ya fisi. So this time, these people, we are getting old. We should encourage them. We should encourage them and assure them that we understand what they went through, but what we want is just want to know the mindset. The mindset. Prison warders would also, those who are there those days, it would also be good for them to tell us what was going on through their minds. Yani, that I hope I've emphasized themselves. And also, a person like Raila's situation, he may have a lot of medical cases because he's once a person whose lifestyle can change from total luxury to total fear. For example, you can remember the various ways he has found himself into the government. He has found himself through the government. There are those times when he has gone through cooperation with Moi. He has gone cooperation with Moi. He has gone Nusumkate with Kibaki. He has gone handshake with Uhuru. And he has even gone for bread-based government with Kipchirchir. Now, this I want to give you this example that such things to any human being, just like a vehicle. You see, if you are driving your vehicle, even if it is an SUV, 1 minute you are in a desert driving your vehicle, another minute you are going through a winter. Your vehicle is skidding through snow and ice. That vehicle must have a mechanical problem, isn't it? So, 1 minute, Raila is leading a demonstration, is rushing here and there, is inhaling tear gas. The other minute, he's in State House. We are undergoing those various things I've mentioned: cooperation, Nusumkate, handshake, and even broad-based government. You see, those are like a vehicle that changes from desert to snow and whatever, and that vehicle would have to be affected. I want to state here that the two swings from State House to tear gas and whatever has effects on his, must have effects on his health. It just must have effects on his health. I want to repeat that Raila really suffered at Nyayo House. That thing I've recorded, Nyayo House was one place where torture was at its peak. If we have to go back to those days, those years, any torture that was happening anywhere, anytime, any place was a fraction of what was happening in Nyayo House. I have several recordings, a year or two. If you go to, if you just at your YouTube, you write there Nyayo House and then JI-TENGE, you'll find I have 4 or 5 recordings which are thematic concerning Nyayo House. From who was the brainchild? That was President Ceausescu of Romania. He's the brainchild of Nyayo torture chamber. Actually, they are called provincial torture chamber, which were copied from what do you call, from Romania, where each province had its own torture chamber. So I've videos which are thematic. I've talked about the brainchild of Nyayo torture chamber, the architectural arrangements, the after effects of the victims, and but mostly I've centered on the torturers, because those are colleagues, and I've seen them and I continue seeing them suffering for what they did. There's such things as after effect. If you can see my boss, James Opio, James Opio is leading a very terrible life, a very terrible life. So, I'm also leading a terrible life after being unceremoniously sacked and not yet been paid my dues. But I would say that if you compare the kind of life I'm leading with my boss, James Opio, me, I'm living in a luxury, paradise. My colleagues who tortured people, they have also suffered, but in a different way. They've suffered in a different way, just like I said, for a case that has not been terminated. You see, a place like South Africa, where we had the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, they had a closing. The government nowadays, we have a lot of findings and whatever, and those things are covered, they are hidden, they are not given to people. It is good that we have an entry so that everybody from there. In fact, we have even those people who need a psychiatric or psychological treatment, but the government. We have those people who are called wenye inchi. Wenye inchi, you do the election. You do the election. Even 2027, suppose the one term people succeed and Rigathi takes over, wenye inchi will just visit him one day and tell him, don't ever disclose this and that. That's a story for another time. Allow me to reenact how Raila's eyes got a problem. Allow me to enact how Raila's eye got a problem. Many a times, you can see Raila wiping his eye, one eye. When he's expecting the tears to come out, he wipes out with a handkerchief, isn't it? But many a times, sometimes it comes unannounced. The tears come out unannounced. At that time, he's forced to, he's supposed to wipe it or clean it with his hand. You have seen him doing this. Allow me to comment about that eye. It was a day, I'll also call Mr. XYZ Mariongovi. There's a day he was in Nyayo House, torture chamber, where he was told to walk on 4. Crawl, to crawl on 4, like a cow. So when he was crawling, I'm saying so when he's alive and he can emphasize when he was crawling, He was asked to mow like a cow. Mow! Yeah. Let me tell you, when you're in that condition, even if you mow exactly like a cow, like me, I can bark like a dog. I can bark like a dog. When somebody's facing another side and I bark, they turn out to see if it's a dog and find me barking. So even if I'm told to bark like a dog and I bark like a dog the way I've barked, they'll still say bado bado jadini. So this old man, by then he was not old. Raila was told to crawl on the floor like a cow, and he was told to mow like a cow, and he was kicked repeatedly. Ng'ombe hii hutoi sauti kama ya ng'ombe. So that is how the eye got that problem. That is how the eye got that problem. Now, during Kibaki's time, during Kibaki's first term, that is 2002 to 2007, Raila went an operation abroad for his eyes, for his eye. There were both two, but special emphasis was made on one. During that time, he came back with dark glasses. Those who can remember, came back with dark glasses. It's that he had just had an eye operation. They were both eyes, but with a special emphasis with this one eye. He kept joking that time, if you can remember. He kept joking that time that the future of Kenya is so bright that he is wearing sunglasses. That was his joke, because he had undergone eye operation. Any operation doesn't come back to your original condition. If you're undergoing any operation, the doctors can do so much, but there is no time that the doctors can treat you to be in your condition like that one, as if you have never been sick in that way. Plus, Raila's medical condition was not like us, which came naturally. What I mean is, my putting on glasses came, okay, mine also didn't come naturally. I was in a technical school. Welding cost me that. But I've already explained how I went through the eye test with the short sight. But of course, there were some Form 6s who were having eyes problem with whatever. So I went and looked at that kartasi and crammed those words. That is how I passed through without my eye test without having good. But I'm saying that my having glasses is different from Raila's, because mine came through constant looking at welding, but Raila's eye problem came from kicking, not cooking. He was, his came due to torture. For one to understand Raila's medical condition, let me now explain how Raila's medical condition. One needs to study the tear veins. We have, they're called tear ducts. Those are just like blood veins, but these ones are used to, they produce fluid in your eye. The tear duct is an automatic controller of water or wetness in your eye. Yeah, it is a controller. When you are sad or when you are very happy, you find some people when they are very sad, they are crying or anything, they shed tears. We also shed tears when we are laughing a lot. So that it controls the emotions, that when you are sad or you are happy, or even when you're passing near a dusty place, the tear duct now brings in wetness to your eye. It brings in wetness to your eye to remove that sand that may spoil your eye. So it is an automatic control. It is an automatic control, just like my glasses here. My glasses, when there is a lot of light, you may have seen that it becomes dark that you can even not see my eyes. But when there is light like this one, my glasses become very clear. But if there is hot sun or whatever, you'll find that it is too dark. That is how the tear duct is. It controls the amount of wetness, the tears that will come to the eye to assist your eye. Now, that automatic control in RAILA's eye was damaged. In Nyayo house. It was damaged. It is like, what other example can I give? You can have your solar water pump, such that if there is a lot of sunshine, then the water pump pumps out more water so that you water your shamba. But then you find that somebody may mess around with with the automatic solar water pump to an extent that you'll now have to pump the water with your own estimation. But if you have a water pump that estimates, because when it is raining or when it is cold, your farm will need very little water. And if it is very hot during summer or something, you find that your shamba needs a lot of water, and that solar will dictate more water to come in. That is how your eyes are, which dictate the tear duct dictates how the water comes. Now, assuming that the water pump is now spoiled, that there are times when it is raining, but still the water pump just pumps a lot of water. That is how RAILA's name is. Today, if I'm happy or annoyed or I cry because of various things, tears come to my eyes because of those emotional changes. But RAILA's tear duct there are times when they just release the nini. They just release the. We also have hotels whereby you don't you don't open the tap. You just place your hand near the tap and water comes out. And if you remove your hand, so assuming that tap, the sensors are not there, the water just comes at its own time or whatever. I think I've explained extensively on that. I remember I last year, 2024, we had a land case in Giraffe Center near Cooperative College. And the cousin who lost the case had to hire detectives from, police for hire, just because I gave evidence in a shamba case. She had to hire a lot of people, including an OCS, a lady OCS. And I was placed in Gigiri for up to 41 hours. Yeah, I was placed in 41 hours. I'm still yet to come to terms with that. I'm still yet to come to terms with that. And you see, the law says you have to be taken to court within 24 hours of your arrest. I was there for 41 and a half hours. You just add something, 30 minutes, it becomes 42. Now, instead of being taken to court 24 hours, 2-4. I stayed there almost 4-2. Now, I stayed two nights without a mattress, 2 nights without a blanket, 2 nights without darkness. I can tell you that your mind sleeps well when you have total darkness. But 2 nights there was no darkness. Now, 42 hours, I'm still in denial up to this time. Yeah, I remember at Riruta Satellite, when these abductors abducted me, I had to ask the the lady OCS Riruta that, yes, I'm a former police officer, I know what happens. And it is my right when I'm being arrested to be told what wrong I've done. She just kept quiet there. She never even answered me or anything. She never even asked her juniors, the detective, why have you arrested this person? Or why can't you tell this person why you have arrested? I was arrested without being told. And you see, senior police officers keep on telling me, why? People with 4 people with submachine guns and the driver with a pistol. And yes, I said I should be told why I'm arrested, but I was not told. The lady whom I had given a case at money, she was selling the land at 30 million. Now you can find that anyway. What I'm trying to say here, for those who say, why do I keep on putting my stories in stories that like this one? I'm saying here that for 2 nights without a mattress, 2 nights without a blanket, 2 nights without total darkness, 2 nights without food. Actually, in those 42 hours, I only took 2 cups of tea and 4 slices. What I went through, and if I have to compare it with Raila spending that one for 9 years, 9 continuous years, with a very short break in between. There's a time he was released. There's a time he was released. I think it's a few weeks, and then he was rearrested again, because when he was still in jail in detention, he was organizing. That is the national government version. That even when he was organizing how to overthrow the government. Of course, Raila's case is a long one. Yeah, you can't talk, because he could oscillate from luxury to whatever. He could oscillate from being a firebrand anti-government to another spy who would be in detention and spy on fellow prisoners. So it's a long story. But I'm trying to, today's purpose of talking is that if in those 42 hours, because it was 41.5 hours, if what I went through, and Raila had to go for 9 years, and I'm told that prisons today, oh, 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 I'm told that what used to be called prison is today called corrective services. Those people who have had the opportunity to see the prison time during those days and prison today, they will tell you that today so-called corrective services, those are luxurious facilities. Those are luxurious facilities as compared to what Raila went through. So what I'm trying to say is that for somebody to have undergone such physical and mental struggle, it has to be related to, it has to manifest itself in his medical thing. And so there is no need for them hiding because of the way he got those problems. It has to do with such things, and it is good for them to come out clean. I am told, and I have no reason to doubt, that in matters of accommodation, today's facilities are of a high quality as compared to the time when Raila was in detention without trial. I know the Gen Z and millennials are wondering what detention without trial meant. They are wondering what detention without trial meant, and I'll talk to you about. You see, the problem with them, Gen Z and millennials, they what do you call? They judge our time with today's measurement. I was in Mandera and sending money to my father. I had to give it to somebody who had to meet my father after 7 days from the day I gave him money. But today, our sons, can take 7 seconds to give me money. I just hear the phone ringing. Tit, tit, tit. Confirmed, you have received so much. So you cannot compare our time and circumstances with today's. I will go ahead and talk about detention without trial. Detention without trial meant that you did not have the privilege of being charged before a court of law. You see, and that is why I'm saying that I was abducted and detained for 41 and a half hours without being taken to court, because they knew that if they would have taken me to court, of course there was a plan. Those things we know. Nowadays, they take you to court. You remember that girl, eh? She was taken to court. Then from there, you are taken to a magistrate. They know that you don't have money, so the magistrate does what? The magistrate declares that you have to. The case will be there after 2 weeks. If you don't have money for cash bail, you'll go to remand for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you come. That is how mercenaries of police are today. You are very innocent. You are taken in, you spend 24 hours, you are taken to court. When you are taken to court, you are taken to a remand place for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you come back, the prosecution says that they are releasing you out. Is it 84A? They don't want to proceed with the prosecution. To me, I was not even taken to court because they wanted my phone. They wanted my phone to be used. After abducting me, they took my iPhone and tried to check in to see if they can find any evidence to charge me against. Uh, Imagine the complainant writing a statement after I had been arrested. That is why Madam Mosier's Riruta, she didn't ask them why I was not arrested. I mean, why I have not been charged. I mean, I've not been told my charges. It is because when I was being arrested in a collaboration of Madam Mosier's Riruta, it was just as simple, straightforward that I could not be told why I was being arrested because they had not even made the idea. They had not even made their mind on why I was being arrested. They wanted to look for, arrest me first and then start looking for a charge. That is why I was never taken to court, because the court would have asked, well, why are you charging him with? And that is what I'm saying, that nowadays things are very different. If you don't fall under rogue police officers, you are taken to court within 24 hours. Me, I was never taken to court. You are taken to court within 24 hours. And then when you are taken to court, you are taken to remand for 2 weeks. When you are taken to remand for 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, you are the prosecution withdraws the case. You'll have ended up 14 days being a government prisoner. Just like that. And you can take nobody anywhere because they'll say that they have a right to investigate things. But that is, I'm talking of the few rogue ones. And they say that one bad apple. So I'm saying that that is what is there today. But during those days, we used to have something called detention without trial. Detention without trial. And that is one of the reasons why Kenya had to have a law which said that for you to be detained more than 24 hours, you have to appear before court. In those days, you would be taken to court. And when you are taken to court, you are arrested by a police officer. Sorry, you are not taken to court. You are arrested by security agents, and then your family goes to court for something that is called habeas corpus. Habeas corpus. When you are taken to court for habeas corpus, habeas corpus is a Latin word. Law, people who have studied law will tell you that they use a lot of Latin words in law. So habeas corpus means produce the body. Produce the body. Now you can produce somebody or you can produce his dead body. But somebody, dead body, produce a body. So when you are arrested, just like Oyo and Njagi in Uganda, somebody should go to Kampala court and tell the Uganda police force, to produce the bodies, either somebody or dead body. That is habeas corpus, produce the body. Now, those days when you are taken to court, you have been arrested by security officer, then your relatives then apply for habeas corpus. They have for habeas corpus, and on the day when the case of habeas corpus is taken to court, when your case is taken to court, ilikuwa ni madharau, yeah? Contempt kabisa, because if we have to tell the truth, you are supposed to be produced in court and then do whatever, but they just leave you wherever you are. They only go to the magistrate or the judge and produce a Kenya Gazette. They produce a Kenya Gazette where they state that the Minister for Internal Affairs has detained you without trial. He has detained you. So when the magistrate gets that, with the legal condition of those days, the magistrate would tell, or the judge would tell you that my hands are tied. Your person has been detained without trial. Today, for you to spend 25, leave alone my 41, today for you to spend 25 hours behind bars, the court has to sanction that. But those days, I can tell you without any fear of contradiction that if there is any what do you call it? Any arm of the government that is completely independent, is the judiciary. It's the judiciary. So today you spend, like me, if I was to be taken to court, and I had the proof. I had the proof of because when you are released from the OB. There is the initial OB when you are arrested, and there is the initial OB when you are released on police cash bail. So that OB will show you are released at 13:30 hours. That is Wednesday. You are released on Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. and you are arrested on Monday at 8 p.m. Yeah? So that is for. If I were to be taken to court, I would just say that this is a mistrial because I was detained for more than 24 hours, 42 hours. So those are the privileges that we have today, and we have to appreciate those people who fought, like in a Raila, for such things. Detention without trial meant that you did not have the privilege of being charged before a court of law. In a court, you are convicted and given time. Whereby, let's say, you are told you have been charged with this, and the court sentences you to, is it a week or even hours? So if you are told you are jailed for 10 years, you just, when you have completed 9 years, you still have one year. If you are convicted for 6 months and you have completed 5 months, but detention without trial, you do not know how long. First of all, you don't have your right of kujitetea kotini. That is how detention without trial is. First, you are arrested, and then your family applies for habeas corpus, as I said. During the appearance of habeas corpus, I'm repeating, the Attorney General produces the Kenya Gazette proclaiming that you have been detained without trial. And that one used to be signed by the minister in charge of security, like Murkomen today. All this time, it is your family that goes to court. You are not even presented to court. If you have to be very fair, habeas corpus, you are supposed even to be in court. They say here is, but they do it without you being seen. During the whole hearing, you are not produced in court. You are not produced before court. And as I said, other prisoners know the days that they are in jail. But even if even a few days, if not hours before you are released, you don't know whether you are going to be. Even the officer in charge of that prison, even the officer in charge of that prison where you are jailed, you are where you are detained, not jailed, where you are detained without trial. Even the officer in charge does not know. It is only the last day when the officer in charge is told, enda toa ile mabusu muite, enda muite. So you are called and whatever. And then in the morning you wake up, you don't know that by evening you'll be a free person. But in these other cases, of course, you know when your time is coming, because there are two ways. There is either you complete the whole term, whereby you are seen to be kichwa ngumu, or there is those people who are released earlier than their days through remission. When you have completed, is it 2/3? If you are jailed for 6 years and you complete 4 years with a good, what do you call, of good character or such a thing, or even medical, because you remember we had the corona, a lot of people who had served a lot of their time were released during corona time because of ABCD, congestion congestion in prison. I said there are those who in good, those who perform well. So anytime after you complete 2/3 of your time, you can be released on that. But a person who was released on, a person on detention without trial, it was indefinite. So that is the difference between detention without trial and a normal trial. In brief, let me give an example of two of detention without trial. One for detention without trial and one for a normal trial. A normal trial, you are arrested, taken to court, you are charged, you are convicted. Either you go through, you accept that and continue with your jail term, or even you exhaust your appeal. You can exhaust your appeal, and so it is recorded you are taken for so long. But detention without trial, first of all, you are not taken to a court of law. You don't. Are you there? Do you plead guilty or whatever or no, whatever? No, no, no. You don't even appear before a magistrate, and you don't know when you will be released. You can even, like Raila spent 9 years, but even a week before he was released, he had no idea he was going to be released, and that is how this whole story has given me an opportunity to explain what detention without trial used to be. I would want the Gen Z and the millenniums to appreciate those who suffered for Kenya to be where it is now. Thank you and God bless Kenya.